Hello, this is Pastor Jonathan Meyer, bringing you God's Word for us today, April 11th, 2017. We're continuing in our reading of the Passion narrative, which combines the four gospel accounts of Jesus' suffering. And today we look at, after the Sanhedrin had come to their conclusion of bringing Jesus to Pilate, we see the beginning of his trial with Pilate, as well as Judas hanging himself. When Judas, who betrayed him, saw that Jesus was condemned, he felt sorry and brought the 30 pieces of silver back to the ruling priests and elders. He said, "I have sinned by betraying innocent blood." They said, "What do we care? That's your problem." Then Judas threw the money into the temple and went away and hanged himself. Falling head first, he burst in the middle and all his intestines poured out. When the ruling priests took the money, they said, "It is not right to put it into the temple treasury since it is blood money." So they decided to use it to buy the potter's field for the burial of strangers. That is why that field has ever since been called the Field of Blood. Then what the prophet Jeremiah said was fulfilled. They took the 30 shekels of silver, the price of him on whom the children of Israel had set a value, and they gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord directed me. To keep from becoming unclean, they wanted to celebrate the Passover. The Jews themselves did not go into the palace, so Pilate came out to them and asked, "What accusation are you bringing against this man?" They answered him, "If he were not a criminal, we would not have handed him over to you." Pilate therefore told them, "Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law." The Jews answered him, "We are not permitted to execute anyone." In this way, the statement that Jesus made when he predicted how he would die was fulfilled. Then they began to accuse him. "We found that he makes our people disloyal, keeps them from paying taxes to the emperor, and says he is Christ, a king." Pilate went back into the palace and called for Jesus. Jesus stood before the governor. Pilate then asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "Did you think of that yourself?" Jesus asked, "or did others tell you about me?" "Am I a Jew?" Pilate asked. "Your own people and the ruling priests handed you over to me. What did you do?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom does not belong to this world. If my kingdom belonged to this world, my helpers would fight to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But now my kingdom is not of this world." "Then you are a king?" Pilate asked him. Jesus answered, "You are correct in saying that I am a king. I was born and came into the world for this very reason, that I might testify to the truth. Everyone who lives in the truth listens to me." Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" After saying this, he went out to the Jews again and told the ruling priests and the crowd, "I do not find this man guilty of anything." While the ruling priests and elders were accusing him, he said nothing. "Don't you have anything to say to this?" Pilate asked him again, "Don't you hear how many charges they are bringing against you?" But Jesus did not answer him any more in regard to a single thing that was said, so that Pilate was very much surprised. The priests and the crowd kept urging him. "He stirs up the people by teaching all over Judea, beginning in Galilee and coming here." When Pilate heard that, he asked, "Is the man from Galilee?" And when he found out that Jesus came from the country ruled by Herod, he sent him to Herod, who was also in Jerusalem at that time. Herod was very glad to see Jesus. For a long time he wanted to see him because he was hearing about him, and he was hoping to see Jesus work some miraculous sign. He asked him many questions, but Jesus did not answer him. The ruling priests and the scribes were standing there and accusing him vehemently. Herod and his soldiers treated Jesus with contempt and made fun of him. They put a splendid garment on him and then sent him back to Pilate. On that day, Herod and Pilate became friends. Before this, they had been enemies. Then Pilate called the ruling priests, the other leaders, and the people together. He told them, "You brought this man to me as one who turns the people against the government. And now look, I have examined this man before you and found him innocent of the things of which you accuse him. And Herod did too, because he sent him back to us. You see, he has not done anything to deserve death. So I'm going to have him whipped and let him go." This ends our reading. We'll continue tomorrow. Have a good evening.